Hello, my dear students. Now, in my previous video, I've taught you about the major part of the nervous system, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now, this is the continuation of the previous video. Now, I'll be taking up the part of the central nervous system, that is the brain, right? Now, what is the brain? Let us start the class. Now, as you can see over here, this is the skeleton part of the skull is known as the cranium or the brain box, right? So, what is the cranium? It is the brain box. It is the brain box where the brain which protects the brain. Now, in proportion of the body size, the brain is the largest among all animals. Now, it actually, the total 2% of the total weight is constituted by the brain of the human being. The brain is a very delicate organ, as you can see, and it is well protected inside the brain box or the cranium of the skull, right? The adult brain weighs 1.35 kg and constitutes 2% of the total body weight. It is 80% water and consumes more than 25% of the total oxygen that we take in. So 25% of the oxygen that is taken in is taken up by the brain. Now moving further, now after the cranium, you can see the three layers are still there before the brain. So what are those three layers? They are called the meninges. Now meninges, the brain is protected by three membrane covering called meninges, where meninx means membrane and it constitutes the backbone of the spinal cord, right? So the three major layers of the meninges are dura mater, arachnoid and pia mater. Now what is dura mater? It is the outermost, toughest layer of the membrane where dura means tough and mater means mother. Arachnoid, if you can see, it is forming a web-like structure, right? As the spider forms web, similarly arachnoid also form a web, and which provides a cushioning effect. And what is the role of this? This protects the brain from injury, right? Where arachne is means spider, and the innermost layer is the pia mater, which is richly supplied with blood, right? And you have heard of a disease called meningitis. It is actually the inflammation in these layers of the brain. That is the layer of the meninges. Swelling of meninges is known as meningitis. Now, moving further, if you can see this blue color liquid part is the cerebrospinal fluid, that is CSF. What does it do? It acts like a cushion to protect the brain from shock. And the same fluid also fills the central space, that is the ventricle of the brain and the central canal of the spinal cord, right? So this is how our brain is protected. First it has the cranium, then moving inside there are three layers of meninges, and still there are cerebrospinal fluid. Now moving to the parts of the brain. Now basically brain has got three major main parts: the forebrain, the midbrain and the hindbrain. Now talking about the forebrain. The forebrain has got two parts: cerebrum and diencephalon. Now what is the function of forebrain? It processes sensory information, help with reasoning and problem solving, and regulates autonomic, endocrine and motor function. Now, autonomic, endocrine, and motor function, motor, I have already explained to you in my previous video. You can check that. Now, the second part is the midbrain. Midbrain is small tubular part which reflexes involves eyes and ears. It helps to regulate movement and process auditory and visual information, right? Auditory means listening and visual means to see. Now, the third part is the hindbrain. Now, what does it do? It has got basically three parts: cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. Okay. Now, what does it do? It regulates autonomic function, relays sensory information, coordinates movement, and maintains the balance and equilibrium. Right. So, this is the function of the hindbrain. Now, externally, our brain is divided into three parts: the cerebellum, the cerebrum and the brainstem or the medulla oblongata. Over here you can see the biggest part is the cerebrum, and below that you can see cerebellum, and the brainstem is a small portion at the end of the like at the end of the brain. I'll be showing you the diagram in the further video, right? So medulla oblongata is also known as brainstem. Now what is brainstem? Brainstem changes the heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, vomiting, swallowing, and digestion. So any injury in the brainstem or the medulla oblongata can also lead to death, right? It is such a delicate part and such an important part. Now, what is cerebrum? The function of cerebrum is intelligence, learning, judgment, speech, memory, sense of hearing, vision, taste, and smell. Skeleton and muscular movement is also because of the cerebrum. And what does cerebellum do? Cerebellum balance and coordinates and posture. So this is the function of balance and coordinate our bodily function, and also the posture of our body is because of that cerebellum, right? Now I'll be explaining you each of them separately. Now moving further, first I'll be explaining you what the cerebrum. Now over here you can see the cerebrum. The major part of the brain is the cerebrum, right? It is the larger portion of the brain and it is divided into two hemispheres. Okay. The hemispheres of the cerebrum is known as the cerebral hemisphere. Now, each hemisphere is hollow internally, and the wall of two regions, the outer is known as the cortex, and the inner part is known as the medulla of the cerebrum, right? Now, the outer portion cortex of the cerebrum contains cell body of the neuron, and being grayish in color, it is called the gray matter. You can see in the second diagram. So outer part is known as the gray matter, whereas the inner portion of the cerebrum consists of white matter, which mainly contains axon nerve fiber of the neuron, right? So you can see gray matter. So gray matter consists of nerve cells and white matter consists of nerve fiber, right? Now the next part of the brain, if we talk about, is the cerebellum. Now what does cerebellum do? Cerebellum is much smaller area of the brain located just at the base or and large under the large cerebrum. So it is below the cerebrum. Now what it is, it has no convulsion. There is no convulsion over there, but has numerous furrows. It also has an outer cortex made of gray matter, as it was in cerebrum. It also has gray matter, and it has white matter, which is in the median section, right? And function of cerebrum is to maintain balance of the body, coordinates muscular activity, and coordinates. It controls the posture, right, and involves in the motor learning. Okay. Now the third one is the medulla oblongata. Now over here you can see, see the skull, the below part of this, it is the red color you can see. Now this red color tail like a part is known as the medulla or the brain stem. Now coming to the function of medulla, you can see over here brain stem, so that is the medulla, and then it is connected to the spinal cord. Okay, that will be, I'll be taking up later. So what is medulla oblongata? It is the lower portion of the brain located at the base of the skull. You saw the location. It is roughly triangular and is continued behind as a spinal cord. The function is to control the activity of the internal organ, right? For example, movement of breathing, beating of heart, and many other involuntary action is controlled by the medulla oblongata, right? So I hope you have understood the various parts and their function and where is the brain located, what is the weight of the brain, that all I have explained to you. If you have not, just go through it again and I am sure it will be clear to you, right? Now over here, I'm just showing you the various parts and their function. It is just you can call it a gist of my video. Now over here, you can see the various part, the venter and the parietal and lobe. You can see that is the cerebrum part. Oh, no, the top part, occipital lobe, parietal lobe, and the frontal lobe. This is all the red, blue, and green part is here. The cerebrum part. What does it involve? It is help in thinking, memory, behavior, movement, language, and touch. And occipital is sight. And then the temporal part is, what is the temporal part? That is the cerebrum, the lower part, or no, lower, and the over here also cerebrum, you can see that is balance and coordinate. Sorry, the temporal part, that is the cerebrum part. The topmost, all the parts are the cerebrum part. So if the functions are given, hearing, listening, feeling, thinking, that's the part of the cerebrum. And the lower part over here is the cerebellum, that is for balance and coordination is the function. And then the function of the brainstem or the medulla oblongata is breathing, heart rate, and temperature. So that is the gist of my video, the function. And I hope it is clear to everyone. Now if you like my video, please do like, subscribe to my channel for more such videos, and please keep on sharing to motivate me, right? So that I can make more such videos for all of you, and I hope they are helpful to you. Thank you so much.